Hello, ladies. Welcome to the last 2 months of 2025. It is your girl Cherie here. Uh, Welcome to the home of the Upwardly Mobile Black Woman, or UMBW. Tonight's conversations. Come on, Anton. Come on, Anton. Anton wasn't invited to something a few weeks ago. I was surprised he left the video up, but he did. So we're going to watch that tonight. Also, Amazon CEO said, What? He said that the reason why 14,000 people were, we call it fired, laid off from Amazon had nothing to do with AI. We're going to hear what he actually said it had to do with. And then the final thing, no rap music in the top 40 Billboard top 40 100 list. Over the past 35 years, rap music has always been represented in the top 40. And for the first time in like 35 years, there's no rap music in the top 40. We're going to hear somebody that I love to hate, Jason Whitlock, talk about it. And I'm going to give you my spin on how I think we as UMBW should think about this. So I'm going to put on our 90-second clock, give people a chance to come in, put UMBW in the comments for me, and let's get this party started. Tell a friend or two that it's Money Monday. Here we go. Welcome to Black Women Making Money. We are the home of the Upwardly Mobile Black Woman. For exclusive content and invitations to our Inner Circle Zoom meetings, which happen on a monthly basis, you can sign up for free for our email newsletter at bwmakingmoney.com. That's bwmakingmoney.com. Hello, ladies. Put your UMBWs in the chat for me. Or if you're listening to the replay, put UMBW in the replay, or better yet, we're going to have a little messy money topic. However, it flows right into what we're always talking about on this channel. Yeah, the topic is, come on, Anton. If you don't know who Anton Daniels is, then you are... I guess I'll say fortunate. He is a social media influencer. He says he has over 1 million subscribers. I haven't checked it out, but I don't doubt it either. He's very known. If you are into the Black YouTube space, Anton Daniels is known. And he said some controversial things in the past, but he wasn't invited. He wasn't invited someplace. He actually did a video about it. And it's been about, let's see here. It's been 3 weeks since he put this video up, and he kept it up. I went and looked for it today. I heard about it when it first happened, but I'm busy with life, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it when it first happened. And I was like, probably gonna take it down, blah, blah, blah. I was like, damn, I should have gotten the video, grabbed it when I had a chance. I went and looked for it today. It was still up. So, hey, we're gonna talk about Anton. We're gonna talk about Anton not being invited. Also, Amazon CEO said, what? The Amazon CEO said AI had nothing to do with the reason why 14,000 people were laid off last week. We're going to talk about what he did say was the reason, how we as UMBWs get our money. We about getting our money here. So we're going to talk about what he said. Also, this is a related topic. The fact that there's no rap in the top 40 for the Billboard 100. No rap. Rap has been represented over the past 35 years. Some people said rap, some people said hip hop. I went, found the original article, and it is no rap, not no hip hop. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to play a little Jason Whitlock, guy I love to hate a little bit. We're going his opinion, not him. And I'm going to talk about how we navigate this as UMBWs, because I've always been telling you ladies that the pendulum is swinging, and boy, is it swinging the other way right now. So first of all, I want to greet everybody. Hey, Kat. Kat has her UMBW here. Jasmine is in the building. Hi from California, ready for Black Money Monday. Yes, girl. And my girl, oh, you changed your name to McFall Notary World. So Notary World is in the building, hailing from North Hollywood, California. And she is a UMBW, definitely. AD makes me sad, is what someone's saying. GG or GGIF. Level Up Single Mom. Welcome, UMBW. She put that in here. Adrian saying, hey, ladies, nope, I have no clue who he is. Well, I'm not going to play all the stuff that he said. I'm sure the ladies can tell you some of the things that Anton has said. The one really big toxic thing that he said that I really don't like, and I'm usually a context person, but for me, there was no context that would help this. He said that Black men should get rid of Black women, something like that. Black women should go away, and Black men need to start with a whole new group of people, and that the Black community should burn. It was basically Black women should. And I'm not exaggerating that either. He did say that. Other people in the chat can verify that he did say that. I don't like the gender war within Black women and Black men. I think that it is something that is, hold on, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm listening for my dogs as well. I think that it is something that, we shouldn't feed into. Let's just say that. So Level Up Single Mom, I have him blocked. Dark and Lovely is here. Purple Rain is in the building. Torian Dreams is here. Purple Rain is saying, interesting. Yeah, you can go find it. There are people who have clips of him saying that. Cat Bravo is saying, oh my. And GGIF is saying he did say that. He did say it. He did say it. So, all righty then, ladies. Purple Rain is saying I just blocked all his videos. Yeah, so I don't listen to Anton. But I did hear about this when it happened 3 weeks ago. First person who I heard about it from was Coach K, who I like. Coach K, Black man on social media, always talking about business, doesn't really get into the whole messiness of things. And then Erica hinted at it. And then I saw Supersly talk about it as well. And Supersly played the video. I was shocked that Anton's video was still up. But look, hey, we're going to watch it. We're going to watch 2 minutes of Anton talking about the fact, first of all, the name of the video is City of Detroit Doesn't Respect Me. This is what Anton says, and he's on video saying this. And from my understanding, this is not AI, slop and all of that. This is actually a real thing that happened with Anton. So let's hear what Anton has to say. He said that the city doesn't respect him. Well, because he didn't get an invitation to something or other. Let's hear what he has to say here.
Place that they supposed to be based off of their talent. The Hudson's building got a grand opening. A lot of people not familiar with the Hudson's, but the Hudson's building, the Hudson site had been imploded, obviously because of the downturn of everything that was happening in Detroit since the 60s all the way up into the 2000s. And now we've kind of had a resurgence, right? A lot of investment, a lot of money, a lot of growth, 11 consecutive quarters of a budget surplus, and everything is going really, really well inside of the city. And, you know, so they rebuilt the Hudson's building, and then I'm also looking to possibly buy a spot at the top of the Hudson's building because it's like two sections. One section is like corporate, all of that type of stuff, and then the other section is like hotel, and then at the very top it's going to be condos / residences, right? But I didn't get an invite, and I don't understand that. How am I, right? Because now numbers matter. Now the numbers can speak for itself.
Let me stop right here. He started off the video talking about he has 1 million subscribers now. He's a watched person on YouTube. He has 1 million subscribers. So when he's talking about the numbers, he's talking about the fact that his YouTube numbers are 1 million subscribers. Now, you and I both know just because someone has 1 million subscribers doesn't mean they have views. Anton may have views, he may not. I didn't go looking for that. I can tell you why you weren't invited to something, though. And that's what we're going to talk about. You all always know I'm talking about skills and networks here. Skills and networks. Diamond Dave, another person on, I've never met Diamond Dave in real life, but he seems like a good guy to me. He always talks about there's a difference between this internet thing and the real world. This is a classic example. What's happening with Anton, talking about the fact that he wants to buy a unit at this Hudson building. I don't even know what the Hudson building is, but he wants to buy a unit there, but he wasn't invited to the grand opening. Let's talk about it. I'm going to keep listening to Anton here.
And it's going to benefit me in some other ways, and so we're leveraging that. But here's my question. How do I not get an invite to the opening of the Hudson's? I had some people hit me up, and Rita was letting me know, and she's like, Anton, the Hudson's building is opening this and so on and so forth. I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to ask for an invite? Am I supposed to, because it's like the grand opening, it's like a really big deal down here in Detroit. And it's like, how do I not get an invite? How do I not get contacted for all of these different things, considering, and this is just the truth, right?
How does he not get contacted for all of these different things? How does he not get contacted for all of these different things? Words matter, ladies. Words matter. How does he not get contacted for all of these different things? So this doesn't seem like it's the only thing he hasn't been invited to. But we're going to listen to just, I think, another 10 seconds of this, and then we're going to have a conversation.
Now I can kind of pop my collar a little bit and talk about it, and y'all can let me know inside of the comments what y'all think about it. How do I not get an invite when I am literally doing more views than anybody inside of the city? It's funny because I put a post up.
Okay, that was it. That was it. He's doing more views than anybody in the city. He's doing more views than anybody in the city, and he's asking why he's not getting invited to these places. My UMBW ladies, I want you to start putting in the chat why you think he's not being invited to these places, because we talk on this channel about the fact that you need skills in networks, skills in networks, skills in networks. We always talk about the K-shaped economy. Either you're going to be rich or you're going to be poor. I feel so bad for the people who were threatened to miss meals because of SNAP and are missing meals because of SNAP. But on our channel, we're like, hey, how do we get to the bag? How do we get to the bag? We cannot afford to be poor. We can't afford to do it. And if you don't have skills in networks, If you don't have skills in networks, and as Diamond Dave says, in the real world, if you don't have real world skills and real world networks, you're going to be dead in the water. You're going to be dead in the water. You're going to be crying about something that you wanted to do, you wanted to be a part of. You've got more views than anybody on YouTube. You got more views on YouTube than anybody in the city. And yet you don't have an invitation to whatever it is you're trying to get an invitation to. That is because we have to step outside of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Nobody gives a damn about subscriber count, or very few people. You'll have brands that contact you who will want to say, hey, would you talk about my whatever it is? Would you be a brand ambassador for whatever? I'm telling you right now, that does not translate. That does not translate. And whatever this Hudson building is, this sounds like something that has to do with money. Every city, even my little sleepy county, because I don't have like a big city in my county. We have like a city, but it's not like really big. But even in my county, there are the people who have. There's this actual white party that I see sometimes, and like you could smell the money when you pass by the white party. If I wanted to get an invitation, I could spend 2 years networking with the right people in order to get an invitation. It ain't that hard, right? But for you, UMBW ladies, if there are things that's happening in your city that you're not being invited to, I'm going to crack the code tonight with regards to how you can be invited to those things, because it has nothing to do with YouTube views, with YouTube subscribers, with TikTok, with Instagram, none of that. None of that. And if you don't have the right skills, and if you don't have the right networks, you're going to be shit out of luck. Yeah, I'm cursing tonight. So that's my one curse word. Jasmine is asking, is he an accredited investor? I don't know, but I can tell you right now, his being an accredited investor or not being an accredited investor has nothing to do with why he didn't get an invite. Level Up Mom is saying he's a clout chaser. Probably. Like I said, I don't follow Anton enough, so I'm not going to agree with or make statements with regards to that. Notary World saying the Black conservative grift is at an all-time high with Anton Daniels. This is true. This is true. I did see Anton on Dr. Phil as well. And part of me thinks that Anton, when I saw him on Dr. Phil, this was a couple of years ago, I thought he's playing a character. I did. I thought he was playing a character. And yeah, the tide is turning with the Black conservative grift as well. If you all are listening to politics, the tide is turning with Black conservative grifters. So if any of you UMBWs were thinking, I'm going to get a bag in this shrinking economy by doing the Black conservative grift thing, the money there is drying up. I might do a session on Blexit and the HBCUs, but I'll tell you right now, Cherie does not believe that Blexit for the HBCU tour was funded at all. I don't. Turning Point USA, Candace Owens, when she first started coming up, there were people who put money behind getting certain Black people to say certain things. That's the Black conservative grift. That money is drying up. They don't need Black conservatives to say certain things anymore. So let's see what else you all are saying here. Purple Rain is saying I blame EYL. Chamber of Commerce membership. So that's one way that you get invited to a lot of stuff. I'm going to give you a couple of other ways, ladies, for you to get invited to a lot of stuff. All right. We're going to talk about that this evening. Her brain is saying, plus this is telling me he doesn't understand how real estate works, specifically the networking part. I I I believe Anton does know. I don't know if he's playing it up for the camera or what, but I believe that Anton is a smart man. And I think that he is street smart. I do. I think he's street smart. So I wonder if he if he was just making content about why didn't I get an invitation. So um you could go to real estate meetups. Absolutely. Real estate meetups, Eventbrite, all of that. I mean, it's easy to get on different lists. But there is a hierarchy. That's why I said I don't know about the Hudson building, but I'm going to tell you how to, like, there's a hierarchy of events that happen in your city. And I'm going to talk about how you get to the highest levels with the highest events and the highest people when you walk into a room and you can smell the money. I'm going to tell you how you are able to do that, ladies. And I'm going to tell you how to do it on a budget. I'm tell you how to do it on a budget. So it could be Notary World, his content, people Google you. It could be, especially with people with money, they don't want certain they don't want certain people, certain characters, certain, ambiance around them. That is absolutely true. And yes, Purple Rain, being poor is expensive. It is. Being poor is more expensive than having money. Being poor, being sick and poor is more expensive than you taking care of yourself, eating healthy, getting your skills and your networks together. Absolutely. Sid is in the building. He's not networking with the people who get him access to the building. This is true. Jace is saying he spends all his time on the internet bashing Black people. So, like I said, I don't watch his content enough to know what he's like talking about on, a daily, weekly basis. But the couple of clips that I saw that I just thought I was like, oh no, I'm not going to invest any time in this guy. He's not investing locally either, clearly. Yeah. So if you are not on the right list, it is because you're not investing not just money, but also time in the right places. So we're going to talk about the things that you need to do in order to get to those lists. Because I want you to this is not about bashing Anton. This is about looking at something that he has done. And he said, I've got all these subscribers. I'm the number one guy on YouTube, and I didn't get an invitation. So we as UMBWs can learn how we can get an invitation. I'm going to read a couple of more things that you all are saying, and then we are going to talk about how you can actually. Torian Dreams is in the building. I thought he had a Black wife and daughter, but he is anti-Black woman. So my understanding is he does have a Black wife and a Black daughter. That is my understanding. Love Single Mom says, I definitely believe it's his content. And it could be. It could be. Notary World. Remember Kevin Samuels would talk about how Black women will be at these upscale events and Black men were not there. Well, that was another person I didn't watch was Kevin Samuels because I didn't want that kind of energy. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that he said that. Jasmine saying, I'm eager to learn from you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Okay, so let's take some notes then, since you said you're going to be taking some notes. So there are levels to the types of events that are happening in your city, in your area. Okay. I'm going to call them like the 3 levels. The first level is the freebie events. Free, maybe $10, $20, $25, right? Close to free events. The next level of events are the business level events that are happening in your city. When I say business, I don't just mean business owners or entrepreneurs. Those are your professional events as well that's happening in your city. But it's a little bit more upscale. You're going to be spending um, on an annual basis, you'll spend anywhere from, let's say, $300 to about $2,500 a year being a part of that community and that scene. And then the third group is $2,500 plus for you to be a part of that community and that scene. That third group is that upper echelon type of crowd that you're hanging out with. And every UMBW needs a networking plan. Every UMBW needs to have whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. You need networks. You need people to know what your skills are, to believe that you have the skills. You'll know you're in the right place. I'll tell you, true story. I was tired of writing business plans. I'd been doing it forever. I wanted something different. I thought I actually wanted to get into tech sales. I sent an email out to about, I don't know, 10, 15 people. Hey, I'm looking for my next thing. Let me know who you know. Within 10 minutes, I got a call from a guy that I had known for 15 years or so. He's the one that hired me. He hired me today. And guess what? When I went into that interview with him and his COO, it wasn't, oh, we don't know if we're going to hire Cherie. Who is this? Let me check your credentials. None of that. It was, are you going to be a good cultural fit? Great. What kind of salary do you want? What do you want? Tell us, how we can do this together. Good. Sign off on the paper. That's what you want. So you've got 3 different levels, right? You got 3 different levels. So I'm going to start off with you looking at your professional events, your professional level, $300 to $2,500 a year. Why am I mentioning this with regard to the budget? Because you will have certain, like you'll have, for example, Chamber of Commerce, for example, where you're going to pay $300 to $400, maybe $500 a year to belong to the organization. But there are different types of people who will get invited to different types of events. One group of people that get invited to events are people that are part of existing lists. You are already on the right list. And how do you get on the right list? You are already a part of and a member of the right organizations. So with this Hudson thing that Anton belongs to, it may not be that he needs to be a part of the Chamber of Commerce. That may be lower level. My understanding, I know Chicago has something called an economic club. I think Detroit has an economic club as well. I know in the Metro DC area, there's something called the Tower Club and the City Club, right? If you want to get on the list of people who are invited to the upper echelon events in your city, the events where you can smell the money, you already need to be a part of some of these economic clubs, some of these top level professional organizations, etc. That's one way you get on. But guess what? You have to have the coins and you have to be willing to spend the money in order to get there. And then sometimes it's not just a matter of you spending the money to get there. Sometimes you need to invest time in going to every event that your organization has so that when they have the super exclusive event, you're invited as well, right? So what do I mean by that? Put Kim Kardashian in the comments for me, everybody. Put Kim Kardashian in the comments for me because I'm going to make a good, I'm going to give you a good example of what I'm talking about. I'm going to give you a good example of what I'm talking about with Kim Kardashian. So put Kim Kardashian in the comments for me. Thank you, Purple Rain. Okay, Let's talk about Kim. Do y'all remember when Kim first came out? And Kim had her old face. Kim had her sex tape. Yes, I know. Kim was just on the scene, and people used to laugh at Kim because they said Kim would go to the opening of an envelope. She had to be seen everywhere. She had to be known by everybody. She would show up. If someone invited her, she would show up. Guess what? When people are putting together events, and I'm telling you this as somebody who is who used to put on a lot of events. There are 3 or 4 groups of people who will always show up. Number one is anybody who's organizing the event will always show up. Number two, anybody who's volunteering for the event may or may not show up. It depends on the event, right? Number three, anybody who's sponsoring the event. Sponsoring the event. So if Anton or if you say, hey, you know what? I wasn't invited to this event, but I'll be a sponsor of this event. I will pay $5,000, $10,000 in order to be a sponsor of the event. I guarantee you, you get an invitation, right? And then number 4 is honestly those people, the Kim Kardashians, that you know will show up to the event no matter what. And you know why? Some of you as UMBWs may want to be a Kim K. It's because I, as an organizer, I need to know that there's going to be a certain amount of people that shows up at my event. And if you're Kim K, if you're the girl, like if you're mid 2000s Kim K is who I'm talking about. If you're the chick, if you're the woman, if you're the UMBW who will show up no matter what, I'm going to invite you because I know I've got you as an extra body in the place. Does that make sense? Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. So that's where I'm saying that you don't necessarily have to have a ton of money, right? But if you're going to be a Kim Kardashian, then do that, be that. And you will get invitations because I need to know that I'm going to have a certain number of people in the building in this networking session, right? So y'all are saying ones. Good, good. I hope I'm making sense with this. The final group of people who get invited to events are the who's who of the city. The who's who of the city. So Kim K is the who's who of today, right? Kim 2020, 2018, 2025, even potentially, is the who's who of today, the who's who of your city, right? But it can't just be the stuff that you're doing online. It's got to be the stuff that you're doing offline as well. It has to be the stuff that you're doing offline as well. So, ladies, some of you are able to be the top 30 under 30. You're going to start getting invited and tapped to going to these things, right? If you start getting friendly with enough people, if you have a big enough network, you're going to start getting invited like, hey, why don't you come and participate in this? Another thing, when I joined the Chamber of Commerce in 2024, I said, okay, I'm going to all the coffee and connections and things like that. Another thing, if ladies, you want to be invited to stuff, whenever you meet somebody, ask them what other organizations they belong to, what other events they host. You'll be surprised who hosts events. They'll say, oh, or where else do you network? Or do you host any events, or where else do you network? You'll be surprised, especially at the Chamber of Commerce and places like that. People say, Oh, well, I host this luncheon, once a month. I host this breakfast. I host this professional networking event. And then what you say to the person is, great. Can you add me to the list? I will tell you, to this day, I get invited to all sorts of stuff in my county because for a year, everybody that I met, I asked them, where else do you network? Where else do you meet other people? And because of that, I'm on everybody's list now for my county. And you can do the same. Jasmine is asking, can you please elaborate? Is the Kim K like a seat filler? Yes, exactly. That's a very good analogy. Kim K is a seat filler. Absolutely. And when you're organizing an event, you want and need those seat fillers. You want to invite those seat fillers. You want people to be in the building when the who's who actually comes in. And yes, you can be that girl. And the reason why I'm saying that you may want to ride in that lane for a little while, could be a year, could be 2 years, 3 years, is because it's much less expensive. You'll get invited to everything just because they're like, I know that Jasmine's going to show up. But that means, Jasmine, that you actually have to show up to stuff. So it's kind of like the more you show up to stuff, the more people invite you to more stuff that you show up to the point where all of a sudden, ooh, I'm getting invited to the really good, juicy stuff. And I hope that makes sense. Jasmine's saying, I used to do that for award shows. Yeah. Yeah. You can do it for award shows. You can do it for networking events, higher end events, things like that. People will start inviting you because they know you will show up. And as somebody who organizes events, we're looking for the people who are going to actually show up as well as the who's who. And you got to be one of those people on the list. So Purple Rain is saying, yes, like Zendaya became known for being best dressed, so she just went everywhere to be seen. Yep, exactly, exactly. So, yeah. So come on, Anton. Anton knows what he's doing. Anton knows what he's doing with regard to this and the content and things like that. But I did want to make sure that you ladies are able to take some of the lessons with regards to your networking. The final thing I will say is this, and I'm not saying that Anton was not a cultural fit for the Hudson, whatever thing that he was trying to get into. Um, but we do need to make sure that we as UMBWs are a cultural fit for whatever we're trying to get into, for whatever networks we're trying to break into as well. And that's head to toe, that's inside out. I've said to you that some of you need to take diction classes and communication classes and things like that. You have to fit the part as well, ladies. You have to fit the part as well. So, Purple Rain is saying also there's a hierarchy to volunteering. It's not the same as philanthropy. This is true. This is true. This is very, very true. So, all right, let's take another look at, let's take a look at something else here. So this is Amazon. Did y'all hear that Amazon laid off 14,000 people last week? Actually, we talked about it when my AI guest, Ann, was here last week. And a couple of days later, Amazon CEO was doing his Wall Street call, and somebody had asked him, like, hey, you let go of these 14,000 people. What's going on? Is it because of AI? And the Amazon CEO said, it's not about AI, and it's not even about cutting costs. It's about culture. It's about culture. Amazon's culture was impacted by all of the hiring that they did during the um, COVID area, the COVID era, sorry, the COVID era. And now they're pushing back. And other companies are doing the same thing. I'm always talking to my UMBW ladies, all of you, about culture. We have to fit into corporate culture. We are moving into a point in time where there are going to be billion-dollar companies run by 20 people as W-2s. And I want to prepare all of you for how to at least get invited to be one of the 20. Okay? So, Amazon slash 14,000 jobs last week, not to cut costs or to chase artificial intelligence, but because those 14,000 people didn't fit into the corporate culture. That's according to the Amazon CEO, who shared his thoughts about the layoffs for the first time during the company's quarterly earnings meeting. Quote, the announcement that we made a few days ago was not really financially driven. It didn't have anything to do with money. It's not even really about AI. He said it was really its culture. And then I wanted to see, he is trying to raise here. This is what I wanted to point out here. This guy, Jassy, he is trying to raise performance standards, enforce discipline, and eliminate bureaucracy. There are a lot of other companies that are doing the same things, ladies. Middle management is about to go away. Either you're going up or you're going out, right? Now, I was watching another YouTube channel where this guy was all about you got to be able to code the AI tech and things like that. I don't think that's the truth. I think my UMBWs that know how to do product management or things like that, if you position yourself properly, you will be fine. But understand this. These companies are now looking at performance standards. They're looking at performance standards. And we have to be able to not only meet the performance standards, which we do, we're great UMBWs, I know that we do. We also have to be able to articulate, keep records of, and articulate how we are meeting performance standards. Because people are going to be on the chopping block at jobs for both big companies and small companies because these corporate cultures are shifting. These companies are getting meaner, they're getting leaner, and they don't have time for BS. Now, the bad thing is for my UMBWs that are entry level. This is where nepotism has to come in. We're not afraid of nepotism over here at Black women making money. If you have a daughter or a son who is trying to get their first job, your network as parents, your skills and networks as parents are going to be the difference between them getting ahead and them having a whole bunch of school debt and nothing to show for it. So let's read here. Torian is saying, Cherie, you cooked with this one. I have never seen a broke socialite. That's the truth. Now, some of them, some socialites are not as good with their money as they should be. However, socialites know how to get a bag. The problem is, do socialites know how to keep a bag? We should talk about that sometime, Tori and Dreams, because that'll be an interesting conversation. But a socialite definitely knows how to get a bag. They do. Notary World is saying Amazon cut all their middle management positions. They took those Trump tax cuts and cut jobs. The trickle-down effect never works. This is true. This is true. Purple Rain is saying, yeah, we got to do the water cooler talk. Yes. That is absolutely the truth. Um, Now, we do enough water cooler talk where we fit in the corporate culture, but not so much where it affects our job and our performance standards. But yes, absolutely. Um, let's see here. One of my friends worked for Amazon, and she told me that her manager's regional manager got fired. He has no one to report to. Yep, yep. The pendulums swing. They constantly swing back and forth. So over the past probably 15, 20 years, you saw a lot of middle managers, you saw a lot of hierarchy, things like that. And now these organizations are starting to flatten. And the question is, can you help the company make money or save money? If you can't do either, then you're gonna be on your butt outside. So Purple Rain is saying, but so many think that student debt is normal, so they don't prepare their kids. This is true. Now, when I went to school, if I had just stayed with a bachelor's degree, I let my mom talk me into master's, and that was not smart. But when I left bachelor degree, my student loan debt was $20,000 for like all 4 years. That honestly, if I were smarter about it, I should have paid that off within 2, 3 years and been done with it. But I wasn't smarter at the time. And my mother was like, and she was trying to do what was best for me, but she was like, you really need to get your master's. My mother wanted me to get a law degree, and she was speaking from the baby boomish fear point of view. But yeah, yeah. So I think that people need to be smart about student loan debt. I really do. Um, but I am, for most of my UMBWs, I'm still a fan of you going to college, not the most expensive college. Um, and yes, I do agree with the fellas. We shouldn't be studying underwater basket weaving, even though I don't believe we are. Studying things like that. I don't think you should also be just, blocked into STEM either. But yeah, I think we do need to be smarter about student debt. So, uh, I know Black people love to just stick to the public sector, but diversifying is key. This is true. This is true. Those jobs were six-figure jobs. That's true. They will say it's because of AI, but I digress. Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. So, um, I believe the Amazon CEO. He's like, this is about culture. This is about culture, and things are changing. So, my mom is telling me to get a job that will pay my master's instead of going straight. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. If you even need your master's, if you even need your master's, you may not even need your master's. I didn't need my master's for the work that I'm doing today. I didn't really even need a bachelor's degree, but I'm grateful to have a bachelor's degree. I wish I could give my master's back. And that's the truth. That's the truth. So, yeah. Um, Public sector jobs don't always allow for side hustles. Yeah, I've heard this as well. I definitely have. Okay, let's talk about the final thing here. I had heard a couple of different people talk about this. Some people were saying it was no hip hop songs. Other people were saying it was no rap songs. I came to Billboard itself because I wanted to get the story directly from Billboard. So, no rap songs are in the Billboard Hot 100's top 40 for the first time since 1990. And Jason Whitlock was talking about this. I saw a few people post about this. Apparently, this is according to Jason Whitlock. I didn't do research on this, but apparently, Luther was a song by Kendrick Lamar, and that one just fell off the top 40. And that record, I think, came out like a couple of years ago, right? So, some of you ladies who listen to a little bit more rap, in hip hop these days can let me know. The other thing I think that's interesting about this is, didn't Cardi B just come out with an album? Because at first I was like, no rap songs. And I was thinking in my head, I was like, well, doesn't Cardi B just have, I mean, didn't she just come out with something and she's pregnant and she's supposed to be touring and she's not on the top 40? Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Um, I was gonna play the Jason Whitlock thing, but I don't want to. I'll just kind of summarize some of the things that was talked about. Because I didn't care for his message. His message was, oh, and you all are saying here, Luther came out late 2024. Yeah. Um, and yeah, the Kendrick record called Luther has a Luther Vandross sample. That's yeah. The only reason I knew that was because he did the Super Bowl and he was singing with SZA, and I was like, oh, that has the Luther hook to it. I don't listen to Kendrick, so it took me forever to hear "They're Not Like Us" because I don't follow the crowd like that. Um, Cardi B used old singles as part of the track list for her new album. That may play a role. Yeah, I don't know. I'll talk about for a second about what Jason Whitlock said and um, what I think is happening with regards to this and why I think this is interesting for UMBWs. So, Jason Whitlock's thing was Black people are no longer cool. He said that. He said, Black people are no longer cool. And of course, he's jumping up and down happy by this news. I read another article that said that Black rap music, or just rap music overall, has not evolved over the past 15 years. I agree with that explanation a little bit more. I agree with that explanation a little bit more. I am worried about Black fatigue because I think that there are certain people online who are trying to gin up um, an unnecessary race war. Now, do I believe that there's racism? Yes, I'm not naive. But I do think that there are people who are trying to exacerbate a race war, right? And you may say, okay, well, what does this have to do with the no rap songs? Um, when I was coming up, there was a difference between hip hop and rap. When I was coming up, there was so obviously the queen of hip hop soul is Mary J. Blige, right? Who doesn't rap, but her influence was all over the place. Lauryn Hill did rap, but she also sang. She was very much hip hop, right? TLC, yes, Left Eye was in TLC, but that was very much hip hop. There were other artists in the early 90s, late 80s who were like hip hop that didn't rap. And what I think is happening is I think that there is a global shift to how Black people are being um, viewed. And I do think that there is even more importance with us being able to navigate with skills and networks. Um, there are, well, I'm just going to leave it like that. I think our skills and networks are going to be vital to us making it individually and collectively over the next 15 years. The pendulum is really, really swinging back. I was listening to Stephanie Mills, who was saying that people want R&B, but they don't want it from us. They want it from Adele and Justin Timberlake and other people like that, which I believe is true. Um, but understand this, that just because, you know what, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. I'm just going to say, let's keep our eyes open with regards to this, with regards to this phenomenon, with regard to this story. Let's see if there is a true renaissance within rap music, because Kendrick Lamar is different from all the other trap music out there, and uh, other rap music that's out there, right? Society, this is one of the things I was thinking, and you all can let me know what you think. Society is looking for something from its music now that is either deeper or that has a better message than the messages that has been put out by rap music over the past however many years. This is how you could have a guy like Kendrick Lamar 2 years later still in the top 40, because what he was talking about was, important, right? Um, there's only so much partying that we can rap about. There's only so much killing each other that we can rap about. The messages are tired, the songs are tired, and what I would love to see is a real Black renaissance. What I would love to see is that the pendulum is swinging back. That's one of the big themes that I've been talking about since I've been on YouTube, is that the pendulum is absolutely swinging back. And we as UMBWs, we got to be ready. We got to be ready. We got to be prepared with our skills, our networks, our financial literacy, because there's going to be winners, there's going to be losers. There's certain people on, certain motivational speakers. Oh, abundance, abundance, abundance. And the more, and at some point I might have a conversation about this. The more I look at society, the more I believe that there are finite resources. The more I believe that you cannot win by yourself. The more I believe that you need to get connected with a group, whether it's your family or somebody else, and you need to figure out how you're going to navigate and move appropriately. And yes, it is true that I, for example, could, as a mortgage loan officer, I could make $400,000 in 2026 and the economy not feel the ripple effect. But it's also true that I, as a mortgage loan officer, there's a certain amount of loans that's out there, and that's it, right? With you, ladies, whatever it is that you're doing, Amazon again is laying people off, UPS, everybody's laying people off, and very few people are hiring, right? There's a finite number of jobs that's out there. There's a finite number of opportunities that's out there. We started talking about Anton Daniels tonight. There's a finite number of invitations for these upper echelon events that's out there. And the question is, how are you going to get what's yours within the society? And the no rap being in the top 40 thing is, again, the pendulum swinging the other way. It's the pendulum swinging the other way. And we've been talking about this now for the past 3-4 years since I've been on YouTube, talking with you as UMBWs. So I'm going to read a little bit more of your comments, and then we're going to head on out of here. So we had already talked about Cardi B. I just think it's so interesting that Cardi B just came out with this record. It can't even be 2 months, and she's not even in the top 40. Like, granted, I didn't listen to it, so I don't know, but yeah. Purple Rain is saying, yeah, but all the rappers are mainly on streaming platforms, not always traditional radio, which is what the Billboard usually tracks more. That could be possible. That could be possible. I mean, numbers can be manipulated. Absolutely. Um, I would just wonder if, like I said, if the genre is getting stale. So, um, what is up with these Black conservatives and their self-hate? It is so cringe. So I'm going to say, so I I call myself a Black conservative. I'm not MAGA, but I am a conservative. Um, I think that there's YouTube online Black conservatives versus like regular people that's walking the street. I definitely don't have self-hate. I don't have self-hate. I don't hate Black people. I think that there's room for improvement with us, but I also understand media manipulation as well. And AI is about to cause even more problems with regards to that. Um, but just separating the two is important, notary world. That there are the online Black conservatives versus just the regular people walking around. That's it. Purple Rain is saying like some rappers only do numbers on Apple Music or Spotify. Okay. Okay. And like well, like I said, I didn't go and look at their methodology of figuring out which songs are not in the top 40. Um, So let's see here. Sid is saying we've entered a more conservative era. No one really wants to hear how much money you got or how people are messing around with it. Yeah, this is true. This is true. The messages need to elevate, and I think that there's a lane wide open for the next Lauryn Hill. I do. A person's got to be talented, like Lauren was, but 2010, that lane would not have been as open for somebody as it is right now. So, yeah, people are just looking for something different. I think the lifestyle associated with rap has been called out by the right. I think some Black people are tired of the image, true. Violence and explicit topics, true. Some of us have Black fatigue as well. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. The one thing about me, Cherie, is I'm very particular about who I have the Black fatigue conversation with. So, but that's me. Because I don't, um, and I never allow people from other ethnicities to badmouth Black people. That's a no-no for me. And people in my life know not to do that. So, um, yes, BET is no longer a pipeline either. Yeah, yeah. So, Black people in the Ralph Lauren Oak Bluff commercial and being portrayed as luxury and old money is the goal anyway. Yes, it is, Jasmine. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I want to be old money. I want to look old money. I want to look sophisticated, not sophistiratchet, not bougetto, right? So that was part of the conversation we had today. You're not being invited places because you don't fit into the culture either. You could be on certain lists, and yet people will take you off if you don't fit into the culture. So, um, yes, Adrian, bring back real R&B, bring back some real neo soul. I'm with you. Purple Rain is saying, yeah, they already paying OpenAI talent $100 million to leave. I did know about that. Yes, it's been a couple of years now. So we'll see what happens. That's why I don't get why they telling Black people to go to the trades. So I don't have a problem with the message for certain people being to get into trades. I think that's a great thing, especially for young Black men. I think that getting into the trades is a good thing. I do. I do. So it just depends on you and what the trajectory of um, your career is and what you're actually looking to achieve. So, and what your skills are as well. So, um, Nerdy World saying these online conservatives, MAGA ones are the people I'm referring to. Okay, I figured that. So, uh, like I don't like most R&B songs because it's just side chick music, and they literally talk about bad decision making with nice music. Some, not all. So here's the thing: if you listen to country music is a lot of the same things as well. It is my love. I'm hooked up with this guy. I'm a side chick. I got drunk, things like that as well. So, yeah, you listen for a day or two to the country stations, you'll hear the same stuff as well. So, wasn't there a black congresswoman decades ago who tried to warn the black community about the damage rap would do? I don't know if she was a congresswoman, but you are talking about uh, uh I'm drawing a blank. But yes, we do owe her an apology. And you know who she was head of the Negro Council for Women, Dolores Tucker. See Dolores Tucker. That's who it was. I don't think she was a congressperson, but we owe her an apology. And you know who got in the middle of her talking about the damage that rap would do? Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson, keep hope alive. Jesse Jackson got in the middle of her sounding the alarm, and it was the United Council of Negro Women were sounding the alarm about rap and the damage that rap was doing. And also Tipper Gore, who was Al Gore's wife, they almost ran that woman out of town because and Tipper Gore obviously was white woman married to Al Gore, but she was like, hey, this music isn't very good for the black community. And yes, we owe C. Dolores Tucker a big apology. So many people were saying First Amendment, and there's a balance of First Amendment. We should have free speech versus this, but people are saying, oh, let them say what they want to say. And don't get it twisted. There were people of other ethnicities who made infinitely more money than the rappers that were rapping certain things. There were a lot of people eating off of rap who were not black. That was a whole system and a whole industry. And I don't care what anybody says, I absolutely believe, 100% believe that there was a meeting between the prison system and the music industry. See Dolores Tucker. Yes, we owe her an apology. I 1,000% believe that meeting, and it probably was multiple meetings that happened between the prison industry and the music industry. I mean, anytime there's a rapper out there and you have the music executives in the music industry putting life insurance on that rapper because the rapper has a bigger chance of getting killed than making it to 50, 60 years old, that says a lot. That says a lot. And yes, what we listen, the music that we listen to, the music that we listen to, the content that we're listening to, the podcast that we're listening to. If you have that stuff on repeat and playing it all the time, even for the most hardened person who's like, I'm just listening to this for, entertainment purposes, it seeps into your subconscious. It really does. And that negatively impacts us as UMBWs. So, um, Purple Rain is saying, yeah, but I think she leans into respectability politics. You think C. Dolores Tucker does? Hmm. Or somebody else? Um, yeah, you don't listen to country music, but you've heard similar sentiments. Yeah, so I've listened to some country music, and yeah. I've listened. I used to listen to this woman called Gretchen Wilson, named Gretchen Wilson, and I loved her music. But when I was listening to her words, I was like, y'all sound kind of messed up over there in the country music land as well. It's not all lollipops and rainbows with the music she was coming out with. So, um, but my whole thing is, why isn't there a rap equivalent that's given the same opportunities? What same opportunities? Like what attracts people to rap that we can't do for another genre? Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. One thing I will say today, and I don't know all the answers to this, but um I think that Nashville cultivates country music singers. Like people descend on Nashville and it cultivates country music singers. If and back in the day, Detroit and Motown cultivated R&B music. Like there was a place that people were able to go to in order to workshop and things like that. Um, I don't think that you have any place where Black musicians get together and are cultivated today, if that makes sense. So, outside of rap, because you do have to have a certain amount of resources that people are putting into creating this space where great music and great art is being created. It does take resources. It does take patrons of the arts, let's say, right? Or business people that say, we're going to actually put money into this. So I hope I'm making sense. Like, sure, criticize rap, but what's the alternative so people don't have to go that route? Uh, so this is just Cherie. Cherie listens to music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I don't listen to gangster rap. Every once in a while, I'll throw Biggie Small on, but I don't really listen to gangster rap. Unfortunately, I don't know any music today that is the alternative. If some of you do, definitely put it into the chat. Um, or if you're listening to the replay, put it in the comment section. I just go back to the oldies but goodies, you know. So that's me. Jasmine's saying, thank you, Cherie. You're such a blessing. Oh, you are welcome. I'm working on growing my communication skills and would love to join your weekly meetings to support and learn more. Well, you're here. You're here. So we're here on Money Mondays. A lot of people's retirement funds are invested in private prisons. This is the truth. This is the truth. Yes. And there's an incentive with the private prisons for that system to not end. And all I can say is I can't affect the system overall, but individually, if I were raising sons, Black sons, there would be certain things that I would do my damnedest to make sure that they did not participate in or be exposed to too early. You know, um, Adrian saying there was a hard change. The rap I listened to was fun and occasionally talked about social issues. Then came what is called ghetto rap, and it all went to hell. This is true. This is true. You know, we used to listen. Adrian, I don't know how old you are, but we used to listen to Salt and Pepper, Run DMC. You know, even Will Smith back in the day. You know, things like that, and then gangster rap came. Gangsta rap came and that changed everything. NWA, Snoop Dogg, people like that came, and next thing you know, it was totally different. So you're absolutely right. Social issues, rap. There was a lot of conscious rap. Queen Latifah was conscious rap. Sugar Hill Gang, places like that would have the party songs and then the conscious songs. Yeah, yeah. So, and I personally think that the government got involved with rap because uh, some of the socially conscious rap out there, if it had continued on, might have caused a lot more people to wake up back in the day. And that's say that and leave it there. Yeah, there are no artist clinics. Yep. No fellowships. Yep. I even miss Neo Soul. I do. I do. Shout out to D'Angelo and Angie Stone. Yeah, like there are a few, but a lot of the big singers don't invest in music infrastructure. This is true. The big singers and the big companies, the big conglomerates don't. So, well, ladies, that was the show for this evening. Thank you so much for being here for Money Monday. I'll see you all next week. Again, hit the like button on your way out, and I'll talk to you ladies soon. God bless you. Have a good week. Take care. Bye.